Tony Chips here, Chiappetta Shoes. This is Workshop Live. We got a two-bagger for today. This Workshop Live, we're talking about a B4 foot. One of those rare feet you don't see all that much. It's kind of jacked up, really fallen arches. Heels are sad, rear foot's sloppy, turned in a lot. But the forefoot has a large valgus alignment too. So B4, you have a large rear foot valgus and a large forefoot valgus. Now, it's kind of a conflicting foot. You have a really drop down, collapsed midfoot arch, navicular, first cuneiform bone. It's a lot of mess going on, so we got to hold the foot up. We're also dealing with rheumatoid arthritis in this foot, so there's a lot of joint expansion. We got to reduce callousing. The main issue that we're dealing with today is we're dealing with a new custom orthotic. Hasn't had a custom orthotic before. Customer's been wearing about 10 medium. Looking at the sizing, we measure about an 8.5 wide. There's a large bunion, first metatarsal hallux valgus, and we have toes turning to the outside. Again, rheumatoid arthritis. There's a lot of mess going on with the toes. Main issue on our right foot is a large callus, really circular, thick, right on that third metatarsal. On the left side, we have a large circular callus right dead center on the second metatarsal. New set of orthotics. We're going to trim these up, and originally I was going to pad them with a little extra poron on the bottom, about 1.5 millimeters of sport poron, professional poron. And we're going to take that off, and we're going to do a drill and fill here. So let's take it to the top down. And we are working with, we're going to try a New Balance 990. 9D is what we're shooting for. All right, so right now we're going to trim these up lengthwise. And whenever you're dealing with over-the-counter inserts or full customs, you don't want to take up the full amount of space. It's very important to have a little bit of a float aspect of it. My last Workshop Live today, we talked about that with an amputee and a filler. All right, so we're working with this space here. Now, considering this area that we're dealing with, I'm going to mark from the top, because we're going to take this poron off, and we're going to start fresh. So when I was originally setting these up, all right, perfecto. With that, look at that. Looks pretty good. All right, perfect. We'll take you over to the grinder. We're going to take this poron off. 2 seconds. Okay, so back at it. Now, we have these pesky second metatarsals and third metatarsals that are angry. We got a big nasty callus, B4 foot type, very fallen arch, a lot of mess. All right, so arts and crafts time. Okay. So this is almost like copying this little art project. Okay. So I like to outline where we're working with here. And each one is a little bit different. I'm going to taper that just a touch right there. Okay, so we got our cutout. So I'm going to call this insert drill and fill, where this little U shape is, we are going to drill out the inside. Perfect. Voila, voila. All right. So we're going to drill this out down to the EVA and then fill it in with a very extra soft, spongy SR pour-on. All right, so that's that side. Now, we got to do lefty as well. Okay. Take 3 inches across. I like to be extra precise. Measure twice, cut once. There we go. Okay. Now, and notice how I got this. I want that big toe. It's kind of at an angle, like right there. So we're going to want to let that sit without taking up much of extra space for that side. And the hallux valgus on the lefty isn't as bad. All right. So what I like to do is get everything trimmed out properly first. Then we're going to drill, then we're going to glue. You want to reduce the amount of steps as much as possible. Being an efficient certified pit orthist is very important, because you got to respect people's time. If you can do this type of work quick and efficient, it's very important. We have 3 certified pit orthist apprentices here at the shop, and there we go, perfecto. All right. That's one thing that's kind of hard to learn. It's just being able to be efficient with your workflow, managing modifications as quickly as possible. At Chiappetta Shoes, we make the world's best custom orthotics, And as a part of that, a lot of it is just patient management. So dealing with people's bodies and feet. We can never say we've seen everything. You have to be able to do modifications on the fly. Everybody's body's a little bit different, and you can see 100 of the same feet and have 100 different solutions based off of what they're doing during the day. All right. So this. All right. So we got the 2 cutouts. Now we're gonna make the fillers. The fillers are last. This is a 2 steps. This is going to take about 25 minutes total, trying to get that down to less, but when you can't rush, you really don't want to rush the glue drying process. If you do that, it's not going to hold properly. You're going to have delamination issues, and we don't like delamination issues. We are the best for a reason. You don't want your orthotics falling apart. All right. This is going to get glued up. And we'll take you to the main cam in a sec. Perfecto. All right. So we got this. Okay. We got our cutouts. We got our fillers. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the hole down to the EVA. All right, so orthotic is cut up nicely. It's ready to go. We're going to take our trusty Dremel. I love this thing. Any certified pedorthist looking to get into the business, make sure you invest in some good grinders. This is one of the main ones. All right, so we got our spot here. You can see that? That's out of focus. We are going to drill this area out down to the EVA. I'll usually cut this out around the edge, set my line, and then take that, check it out. Almost. There we go. All right. Now, whenever you're doing this customer is not a diabetic, so we're not overly sensitive of friction areas, but B4 foot types are typically, they're kind of a mess. There's a lot going on. Fallen arches. You want to reduce any points of friction, so you treat them like a diabetic. All right. So, right side, we have our third met. Got that cut out to the EVA section right here, and we got it tapered really nicely around the edges there. Okay, so we're going to do that other one in a sec. Back to the main cam. All right, now we got that second met on the left. All right. Dremels can get a little messy. Anyways, we have our cutout here. We're gonna get this glued up. We're gonna let that sit for a few minutes. And then, first step will be gonna get this glued up. We're gonna do first step as the build-up, second step as the padding, okay? We're gonna let this sit for a couple minutes. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. So we're gonna take this custom orthotic, drill and fill on an insert. We got the hole drilled out. We're gonna build the cut up, or the build up around it, and then fill it in with a nice 3mm SR pour-on. All right, heating this up. This is a 1.5 millimeters, or about a 1/16 of an inch of EVA FM. It is a extra firm EVA, about 65 to 70 durometer, and it works really well as a build-up material. We occasionally use it for some of the core pieces of our custom orthotics, but if we're trying to make something a little bit thinner, we'll use this stuff. It works great as a build-up material around these spots. So, all right. We got lefty here. Take this to the grinder, just give it a little touch up, glue it, let it sit for a few minutes. We'll talk about what a B4 looks like. As well. Okay. Now this person, don't believe she's worn orthotics before, so typically B4 foot types, there's a lot of flexibility in play. Let's take you over to the grinder for a sec. All right, hit it with the Dremel, back to top down, get that glued up on that SR pour-on. Okay, now here, I'm gonna take the Dremel at the main cam, and I'm gonna bevel the edges. Again, fine tuning. A little extra time makes a big difference in execution. Beautiful. All right. Perfect. Okay. So we've got our customs. We've got our build up. Now we're padding. Now some places just leave it as is. When you're doing a build up to create a depression zone, they'll just trim it out. They drill but they won't fill. And my issue with doing a drill with no fill is that you can still create a tension zone around the rigid areas. Even if you taper it nicely, even if you do things really, really smooth, if you have a cutout, you still want to fill it out with something that's kind of spongy and soft and really, really conforming, something that structurally keeps the integrity of the orthotic nice, but also gives a little extra cushion zone. So you typically want to do something that's at least 20 to 40% lower in durometer for that depression zone padding area. And that's key. You can use P-cell, you can use SR poron, you can use XRD poron. A lot of different types of softer materials out there that would build up around. So again, we have 4 different layers of material. We have top 3 mil EVA, 35 durometer. We have a sport poron at about 15 durometer. We have a multi-cork at 55. We got our Villadon base layer. We have EVA FM at about 65 or 70. And then we're drilling that out and we're filling it out with about a 10 durometer SR poron. Low density, very soft, spongy material. XRD poron is really nice for impact areas. Typically, 5th Met base, I like using XRD. That's the yellow stuff. A lot of it's used in the new hockey equipment. Bauer's using XRD poron. Great material. I'm a goalie. I like it. Feels good. I also use it in the workshop. So we're going to let this sit for another minute or so. On a B4 foot type. B4 foot type. Rear foot, large valgus. This customer will about 10 to 15 degrees cocked to the inside. Large 4-foot valgus, somewhere in the range of like, it's extra large, somewhere in the range of like 15 to 20 degrees cocked to the inside, maybe a little bit more, up to 25. Navicular and first cuneiform is dropped down a lot. So everything is kind of like running along that first column. This usually is a foot that you don't see out in the wild at a young age. It's usually a major deterioration that happens throughout the lifetime. Most often we'll see quadristep foot typing system, B foot types. Most time we'll see B foot types with leg length discrepancies. So you get the situation where you have a high arch and a low arch. A high arch in most cases with leg length discrepancies is the shorter leg. The leg column is trying to be longer, so it's more supinated and rigid. The flatter foot is usually a foot that has too much pronation. It's trying to be shorter by flattening out and creating more slack in the system. Not the case here. Both feet are B4s. So with this situation, we have major circular callousing at the 2nd metatarsal on the left, 3rd metatarsal on the right. We got our nice little drill and fill. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, perfecto. Awesome. We're gonna take this to the grinder and we're gonna wrap this sucker up today. All right. There we go. We have a finished drill and fill, new set of custom orthotics. Going to work with the New Balance 990 right here. Love this shoe. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to check us out, subscribe, all that good stuff. Ciao.